"Mind your own business," said the man as he shouldered past. Erno knelt over Alois. His shirt was torn, his leg was bent funny, and his hand had been torn off. A trickle of blood ran from his scalp, but he was breathing. Erno ran back to the cafe. Luis was talking to the manager. Erno returned with a wet towel and held it to the unconscious Alois' head. In 15 minutes, a bored settlement agent came by and loaded Alois onto an electric cart. "Is he going to be all right?" Erno asked. "Was he all right before this?" the agent said. "Where will you take him?" The agent ran his reader over Alois' good arm. "He's insured. I'll take him to the Magnificent Dividends HMO." "What about the men who beat him?" The agent calmly surveyed Alois' semi-conscious body. "On the violence scale, this probably isn't outside of one standard deviation. You want to make a statement?" No." "Good day, then." The agent climbed onto the cart and drove away, Alois' handless arm dangling off the side. Luis emerged from the bystanders and pulled Erno back to the table. "So are you done wasting time? This information is only valuable until game time." "They just beat him up." "You don't have anyone who'd like to beat you up?" Not yet, Erno thought. But next week he could be Alois. If he paid all he had against his rent, he wouldn't have enough left to feed himself. He couldn't even sit in the cafe unless he bought something. Maybe he could put Anna off with 1 ducat on account, but anyway he looked at it, in another week he would be destitute. He could sell his possessions. He had the specs he had brought with him from home. He had his good suit, some other clothes, a few tabs of IQ boosters. I can maybe raise some money. Go do it. I'll meet you back here at 1600. I'll have to lay off the bets at a couple of different bookies, or somebody will figure out something's up. We need to get the money down by 1800. By midnight, we'll be counting our winnings. Erno left the cafe and went back to his room. He got the boosters from his drawer and stuffed them in an inner pocket. He put on his worn slippers, then folded his good ones up inside his suit and tucked the suit under his jacket with the specs, hoping he could get them past Anadem. He left the hotel for the pawn shop. The front door of the shop was filled with racks of plasma shirts, boots, specs, jewelry, sex implants, toys. In the back were older and odder items, paper books, mutable sculptures, ugly lamps, antique drugs. A little boy sat on the floor, playing with a wheel on a wire armature. Several other people were ahead of Erno, waiting for their moment, with the woman behind the counter. Erno sat on a bench until his turn came. He went up to her and laid the suit and slippers down. Beside them, he put the specs and the boosters. With her index finger, she pushed the specs back toward him across the counter. Worthless. She picked up the suit by the collar, shook it out. It had been one of Erno's prized possessions back at Fowler, dark, synthetic silk, cut to look just like a dress suit of the mid-20th century. She laid it back on the counter, ran her fingers along the lapel. She looked up at Erno. 2 ducats. 2 ducats? You can't find a jacket like that anywhere in the colony. That, my friend, is not an argument in its favor. Erno sighed. All right. He pulled off his bracelet. Take this, too. I've got 130 on it in cash. He hesitated, rotating his mother's ring on his finger. Finally, he pulled it off and set it on the counter. How about this? It looked so small, sitting alone there. The man behind Erno leaned over his shoulder to see. The silver setting of the ring shone in the soft light. The turquoise was rich blue. The proprietor held the ring up to the light. This is Earth turquoise? Yes. My mother's family came from New Mexico. That's on Earth. She gave him a withering look. I know that. She put the ring back down. I can give you 20 ducats. Erno picked the ring up. No thanks. 30. That's as much as I can offer. 40, Erno said. After a moment, the woman nodded. Reluctantly, Erno handed her the ring. Keep it in a safe place. I'll be back to get it later tonight. I won't be here. Come in the morning when we open. The woman offered him a cash card, but he insisted on currency. She counted out 4 fabric 10-ducat bills, each with its video of the heroic founding speculators on its face, and a few singles and change. Erno stuffed the money into his pocket and fled the shop, almost tripping over the boy on the way out. Back at the cafe, Luis was waiting. Have you got the money? Erno looked around the cafe to make sure no one was watching and put the bills on the table. He took some coins from his pocket, reserving only a quarter. It came to 46 ducats and 98 centimes. How much have you got? He asked Luis. 23 ducats. For a moment, Erno was annoyed. Why was Luis coming to him for money when he couldn't even match what Erno contributed? But then he got over it. They both were taking a chance, and it didn't matter who took the bigger. At 6-1, he would clear 281 ducats. That would make all the difference in him getting out of the rut that was the weekend. Luis scooped up the bills. Right is right, then. I lay this off, and when we win, I give you 225. What? Erno said. Should be more than that. 10% for information and 10 for risk, Luis said. What risk? I got to lay this off at 3 different bookies, my son. I tried to lay it off all at one, and people gonna notice. It was after 1600. Then we better hurry. You wait here. Luis, I trust you, but I'm not crazy. Luis protested, but gave in. They first went to a shop that Erno had always thought was a virtuality center. He watched through the doorway, and 10 minutes later, Luis came back smiling with a tag. 25 down on the Gunners at 6-1. The next place was in the Colony Center, the business district with the efficient shop fronts and mentally augmented security. Luis left him at an arcade and went into a gold-fronted building of algorithmic design that dated back 30 years or more. Erno wandered around the plaza, reading the quotations inlaid in the pavement. He stood for a while on, "In the state of nature, profit is the measure of right," by someone named Hobbes. He was loitering on, "I don't believe in a government that protects us from ourselves," Reagan, trying to avoid the gaze of the security midges when Luis returned. This time, he was not so cheerful. "I could only get 4-1. Bastards are too upscale to give odds." The third bookie was a single person, a large man in a black jumpsuit, standing on the street outside the warehouses near the railgun airlocks. Erno insisted on going up with Luis. The man smiled when he saw them. "Luis, my oldest and best friend, who's your mark?" "My name is Erno." The man's smile grew very broad indeed. He had a video tooth. "What can I do for you?" "Need to lay down some money on tonight's game," Luis said. "It's late. They drop the puck in 20 minutes. You want our money or not?" "I always want your money, Luis." "So it is. We've got 20 ducats we want to put on the Gunners." The man arched an eyebrow. "Entrepreneurs. I'll give you 2-1. 2-1, Erno said. "Been a lot of bets in the last hour laid on the Gunners," Black said. Must be some excess of team spirit, I think. Odds going down like a horny cousin. Shit, team spirit, you can't. 2-1, Luis. Declining as we speak. Maybe you want to bet on a different game. I can offer 7-1 on the Shackleton game. Luis pulled the bills out of his pocket. No, we'll take it. Erno was calculating what the reduced odds would cost them. He was going to say something, but Luis had already handed over the cash and received the tag. See you after the game, Luis said. Black nodded and smiled. I'll be here, darling. His tooth gleamed rose, then blue, if it should prove necessary. On their way back to the cafe, Erno asked Luis, what was that about? 2-1. The word must be out. Too many people must have bet the Gunners. You shouldn't have bet that last 20. Relax. We still double our money. We're just lucky we got to the other bookies before the odds came down. Erno bit his tongue. The whole thing smelled. He felt in his pocket for his last quarter. No rent, no job. His mother was dead, and he had pawned her ring.